Freeport McMoRan is setting up very nicely. You can all see this super nice setup. Right here, about $40 is going to be the pivot, and you're looking for some kind of a move out of there. Now, I really like this moving average stack winding up right here, getting super tight, and the price all winding up right at this $40 pivot level. So now let's zoom out to the weekly, and you see this kind of a breakout way back here at the $20 level. I mean, that is the, breakout from this long 4-year bear market from 2016 all the way to about 2020, 2021, somewhere in there. Okay, so now we're really setting this up. That could be a real nice Bill O'Neill kind of cup and handle setup there on the weekly. This volume tapering off, that's what you want to see. And the only thing that remains is some kind of a little pop out here, right into the $40 on some really big volume. Then we get our signal. So we're keeping an eye out for the signal. We're getting the setup now. And now let's zoom out one more time to the monthly. And you can see Freeport at this $44 level is just really pushing up against some real serious peaks in price. 2008, 2011, the last two peaks. So in order to get some kind of a move like this, we're going to have sustained inflation. Okay, not like these last two times where we got rejected with financial crisis and then second wave of the deflation. So in order for this to really push higher, we're going to need to see a different stage of the economic cycle or something different happening that allows inflation to run hot without the Fed coming in here. So without this Fed just coming in and crushing this thing with rate hikes and all kinds of stuff. So in order for us to get sustained prices in Freeport, you're going to want to see copper move higher. It's this $44 level on Freeport that I'm watching, and coincides with actually a $4.40 price in copper. So you want to see some continued inflation, Fed unable to hike rates and crush the economy, and a $4.40 price level in the HG copper futures, and which coincides exactly coincidentally with $44 in this Freeport. You're going to want to see price go up above there to know that we're getting some kind of a sustained breakout like we had back here in this 2003-4 area. And what we want is some kind of move like this from, $6 all the way up to this $30 level. Okay, so somewhere like a 5x in price, so 40-ish bucks, talking about the maybe $200 level on Freeport is what this kind of pattern is setting up for if it works out, but there's no guarantee. I mean, the Fed could come in and just absolutely crush this thing with rate hikes. So now let's look at the fundamentals to see an idea of where exactly this thing is. So taking a look at fundamentals, we see that all is not well because this year and next year's projected revenues are nowhere near these peak revenues we saw at the last peak in that deflationary bust and then the previous peak right before the financial crash. Okay, so it means one of two things. Either this price is setting up nicely because we've got a longer way to go from 15 or call it 17 into this 20-ish dollar revenue area, or that price is just as high as it was back then and the revenue is nowhere near where it was, so it's way overpriced. I mean, you could look at it either way. And the same thing with earnings. You've got this $3 or $3.80 earnings, which is nowhere near the peaks we saw back here in that last deflationary peak right before that deflationary bust. So the same story. You got to keep a watch out for this because it is highly cyclical. And again, we're going to need to see a sustained move higher in that copper from $4.40 so that Freeport can start to get earnings. If Freeport's going to go from $40 up to 200, we're going to need to see these earnings just actually ramp up to 5x. So we go into $4 earnings a year, $5 earnings, $7 earnings, $10 earnings. Okay, and it keeps on going, $12, $15 earnings into 3 and 5 years out to get kind of a nice 5 year move up into the hundreds. All right, that's possible if copper inflates higher, if we're actually running out of copper. So gonna have to keep an eye on quarterly earnings. Let's see what those are. All right, earnings per share quarterly. So we've got next year is going to be somewhere in this dollar range. Each quarter progressively gets better from 82 to 94 to $1 to $1.04. So we're going to want to see these start to go up to $1.25 a quarter by 2023 first quarter, then $1.50, then $1.75, $2, right? You're going to need to see these estimates start coming up. That's going to happen if copper starts to break out, but there's no way this stock is going above $45, $50 without these earnings getting into $1.50, $1.75, and into the $2 per quarter range. So if we keep an eye on estimates and they're getting jacked up higher and copper's breaking out into the 450, 475 range, next year, and into the $5, into the $6 range by the end of the year next year, this stock, Freeport, could really start to move. All right, so it's a long road from here to there, but I think that we have the possibility to get that if the Fed is stuck in between a low rate environment and out of control consumer price inflation globally.